There's no crying. There's no crying in baseball.
Welcome to Launch Angle Baseball Podcast, Episode 2. We've missed you guys, haven't we, Tanner? We've missed you guys. We missed talking baseball.
Some of you have missed.
Yeah, for sure. This is off-season podcast number 2, and the season is quickly coming, which is a good thing. That's good news. Tanner, how are you feeling? Are you staying healthy?
Family not so much, but me so far, thankfully. But yeah, man, I'm just excited to chat baseball, like pitchers and catchers reporting next week, like a month away, World Baseball Classic, well, a little more than a month away, but it's exciting. Baseball stuff is upon us.
Yeah, it's always fun. Look, if you haven't watched episode 1, Tanner, I would say go back, watch it. We didn't argue that much, I would say, but we did talk about World Baseball Classic. Is it a good product? You know, are you excited for it? We also talked about MVP. We talked about off-season moves. We complained about Kyle Tucker for a little bit. So go back and watch episode 1, right, Tanner? It's good stuff.
I would say so. Yeah, I mean, we might need to get into a little more argument to really push you to watch our older stuff. But for sure, Sam and I, unfortunately or fortunately, however you look at it, tend to agree on most things when it comes to baseball. So we need to get some hot takes rolling.
For sure. 8 days, you said, until pitchers or catchers report. Pitchers and catchers.
I think that's right.
First, I want to start a new tradition, Tanner, with you on the pod, and that is I want you to name a random, sight unseen, random MLB player from the past and why he came to mind.
Yeah. Let's see. Random MLB player from the past that comes to mind right now for me today is Tony Womack, second baseman. Played for the Diamondbacks a lot of his career and played for the Yankees for a handful of years. I don't know if he was ever anywhere else, but those are the two that come to mind. But the dude could steal bases. He kind of stunk as a player, but he could steal bases.
Womack.
Tony Womack.
That's a good one.
I think his career high is in the 70s for stolen bases in here. So imagine where he'd be with the new rules. He'd be at least in the hundreds.
Man. I've got a much more boring one that came to mind. I don't know why this guy always comes to my mind. I think Ray Durham for San Francisco for the Giants. He played, I think, a few years with Bonds. Very forgettable, very weird batting stance. Pointed his bat straight back. Man, I miss those guys. What happened to batting stances, by the way? Why are they so boring now?
I don't know. There's really not that many that like really stand out as unique and different, except maybe like Juan Soto comes to mind. His is kind of different, and he's got the Soto shuffle. But outside of that, they're kind of bland. Maybe people have just learned like if I do something crazy, it's messing up my timing. I don't know.
That's good. Tony Womack and Ray Durham, random players of pod number 2. Let's talk divisions, Tanner. 8 days away from baseball, so we have to start making some predictions, or we're going to run out of time. And so I actually think today let's just take 2 divisions and talk about it, kind of do a deep dive into divisions. And I want to start with your team's division, which is the AL East. And listen, I kind of think from the outside looking in, having no real dog in the fight, it's hard to get past the beast that is the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
Especially after how well they played last year. They played well in the World Series. They played really well in the ALCS, came back and won in that series. And then it just feels like they've been adding in the offseason. And so I'm going to start with you, kind of some predictions about the AL East. You can give me your winner, talk about the Blue Jays, talk about the Yankees a little bit, and then maybe one surprise team.
Totally. Yeah. I don't know if there's going to be a whole lot for surprises necessarily in the AL East. Like the AL East, I believe is one of the top 2 strongest divisions in baseball. And I could argue with probably anybody on that. But my order for top is Yankees, Red Sox, Jays, O's, and Rays. The Blue Jays.
Hold on, you say the Red Sox getting second?
I do. Yep, I have the Red Sox second. I think they maybe underperformed a little bit last year, but I think that they're going to be I think they're going to be really solid this year. I think Roman Anthony is incredible. Like I think he'll be eligible for Rookie of the Year in the AL. He didn't play all that much. I'd have to look at that, but he's going to be awesome. He's going to be a stud. They have a solid pitching staff. They made a couple changes and updates that, frankly, I don't know if we're going to help them all that much, but I think they're going to be a solid team. And then kind of on the flip side of that, I think the Blue Jays overperformed a little bit last year. Like, they have some good players. Don't get me wrong. They play really hard, which is good. Their pitching this last year is really what I think overperformed for them. And even though they made a couple of changes pitching wise, I don't know how much it's going to help them. Like, they signed Dylan Cease and Shane Bieber.
And it just feels like Cease is overrated every year to me.
Like, his K rate's really good. His ERA stinks. He had one really solid year, and since then he's like really not been even close to as good of a pitcher. Shane Bieber, I think he won a Cy Young a few years ago, and was hurt most of the last 2 years. Barely pitched last year. Getting older. I don't know how much of a factor he's going to be.
Savage.
Savage
right?
Could be great. I think he might be their best pitcher, frankly, and he's hardly had any experience. Their bullpen, I don't think has gotten better. Jeff Hoffman is still there as their closer, but as we've seen, that dude gives up home runs at a ridiculous rate. So if you're giving up a home run to Miguel Rojas in the World Series, there's an issue. But anyways, so I don't need to talk too much about the Blue Jays, but yep, I have them third, Orioles fourth, and Rays fifth. Like, those teams have made a handful of moves, but nothing crazy. Like, the Orioles signed Pete Alonso. That's great. They have that super deep left field, so that sucks for any right-handed bat. They've added 0 pitching. So I think the Orioles are going to score a lot of runs, but their pitching is nothing. And then the Rays, they've made a couple of adds, but like, again, not very much. not very much that I feel like is going to help them. And they lost their closer, Pete Fairbanks, who was great. They're that kind of team, like, they're either going to be last or maybe they'll sneak up there somehow and be high. But anyways, that's where I'm at. What do you got, Sam?
Yeah, I mean, did you say the Rays were last? They're your bottom feeder?
I have the Rays the bottom feeder this year.
Yeah,
yes.
Me too. It's interesting the Blue Jays talk. And I know you didn't get to talk a ton about the Yankees. I mean, you made a video about the Yankees, right? A standalone video about things that you'd like to see and things that you felt they need to do. I think the 2 top teams in my mind are the Blue Jays and Yankees. The points you make about the Red Sox make sense because it does feel like they underperformed. The Red Sox always kind of feel like a sleeping giant. I remember texting you during the season last year and just saying it doesn't even feel like the Red Sox are they're trying to win. It doesn't even feel like they're trying to win. And then after I sent that text the next month or two, they rattled off like a crazy win percentage. Yeah, here's my division prediction for the AL East, and I know it less than you do, but I've got the Blue Jays at 1 and the Yankees at 2. And I think that race comes down to the final days of the year, as baseball does all the time, right? Like, we get down to the final days. It's always action-packed. And I have the Red Sox 3. Now that hearing you talk about it, I'm like, maybe the Red Sox could sneak in there. And maybe the Jays just have had a crazy lucky year. With Vlad and who's their leadoff guy?
It was Bo Bichette.
With Bo Bichette, they lost him. Yeah.
Lost him.
Oh my goodness, you're right.
That's a big subtraction.
Yeah. That is a huge subtraction.
Not offensive or not defensively, but they're going to miss a lot of hits. Springer
leading off, and
I mean, he could be hurt all year with how Springer
could be hurt all year. It's just maybe I'm just emotionally jaded by Springer just destroying the Mariners in their series. He's such a contact guy. He's so annoying to try to get out of the plate. So he's just a game changer. And then when Vlad is hitting, it just feels like they're scoring runs at a crazy clip. You're right. Their pitching has issues. I think if the Yankees can outpitch the Blue Jays in 26, the Yankees win the division. And the Yankees just have to stay healthy, right? Like, I think you could make an argument that the Yankees have been one of the more frustratingly unhealthy teams over the last few years. There's just been things that come up, and it just feels like they're not quite performing up to their potential. But any of those 1-2, like Blue Jays, Yankees, Red Sox could push for it. The O's are bad. I've been just hearing about Kyle Bradish and basically Gunnar Henderson, and it just doesn't feel like they're really trying to compete much right now. And then the Rays, you're right. Like I have the Rays as last. It just doesn't feel like they're really interested in winning the division this year. Anything I say that you disagree with or agree with?
No, I agree with all that. I mean, I think really 1, 2, 3, anything could happen in that division. And realistically, I think it's very possible that the top 3 teams in the East make the playoffs again because it's such a strong division.
Right. And on the flip side, the Central is not. Right. So let's transition.
Maybe we should have talked about the Central first.
Maybe we should have. It's interesting to me, the Central, how different the divisions are. There's been a lot of talk about reshuffling divisions. I'm not a fan of that because I'm an old school baseball guy. You know that about me. But when I look at the Central, it's just so hard to be excited about some of these teams. I'll go first this time, though, if that's cool. Central, I have the Tigers winning. If they get Skubal, this will be a lot easier to defend. Remember with me, though, there was a time last year when the Tigers were the winningest team in baseball over a stretch. Like, they got super hot. They were winning everything, and then they just fell off the cliff. They scratched into the playoffs, and then in the ALDS, they gave the Mariners a run, but it just wasn't enough to be that convincing. I have them winning the division only because I don't think the Royals and Guardians are that strong either. The Guardians feel like, and I have them actually at third. I have the Royals at second. So maybe that's an early hot take, but I like what the Royals are doing in the front office and their farm system. I see some of the things that they're doing and trying to do. It feels like they've been trying to build a new ballpark in KC for a long, long time. I like the Royals to finish second, just past the Guardians, who it just feels like every year sort of they're the fighting Jose Ramirez's. Twins fourth, White Sox fifth. Those two feel like a given to me. The Twins have done a few things here and there, but the White Sox, what are they doing, right? It feels frustrating. So I have Tigers number 1, Royals as a surprise number 2, Guardians close by behind number 3, Twins and White Sox at the last. What about you?
Okay. So I actually have the exact same order: Tigers, Royals, Guardians, Twins, White Sox. Maybe slightly different reasons. No, I don't think you're crazy by any means. Like, realistically, this division stinks. Like, none of these teams I feel like have done much to make themselves any better this year. The White Sox actually have made the most moves, but they're moves that are questionable. Like, is it
getting rid of Tim Anderson?
Well, I mean, yeah, maybe. Luis Robert, getting rid of him, he was their best player, but like, how many games is he going to play is the question. Like, they got Luis Angel Acuna, maybe that guy's going to be really good. Who knows? They got the guy from Japan, Murakami, I think is his name. Maybe he'll be really good. Maybe Jordan Hicks will be good, who they got after having, really hit or miss seasons. So maybe the White Sox will sneak up to, the 4th spot, but it's pretty unlikely. The Guardians, they lost Emmanuel Clase probably forever. That's a big hit. Tigers haven't added many. I think the Royals, what could get in their way is just the injuries. Like, they have really some pretty good pitchers, a decent bullpen.
Bubic, I think for sure, right?
Yeah, Bubic is great. Cole Reagans is great. Both those guys got hurt last year and missed a lot of the year.
And Waka still throws for them, correct?
Waka still throws. He does. They've got some good Seth Lugo, like some good pitchers who continually overperform. It's just, are they going to stay healthy? But Jack Caglione, that guy's, his potential is crazy as a hitter. I think he could have a great year. I think Carter Jensen, their top prospect, who's a catcher, I think he's going to be a difference maker for them. I think that's another guy who has potential to win Rookie of the Year in the AL. So, the Royals, I could see them winning the division also, but I have them in second right now.
Yeah, that'd be crazy to see Casey push. They're kind of a mix of younger and older. Salvador Perez. How many more years can you really get out of Salvador Perez? Is he going to catch every day?
No.
Caglianone feels like, to me, like if he can break out and display the power that he has with contact, he could be Harper-like power, but in the small sample size that we got, he really struggled. So they're asking him to do a lot. If he could break out and be a true number 3 or 4 hitter for them, they could have a lot of success. Michael Garcia, Vinny Pasquantino, Salvi, it's not a bad lineup.
We don't even mention Bobby Witt Jr., who's one of the best baseball players in the world.
And he gets hidden, right? Like, it's not even me forgetting about him when I'm naming off that roster, but like when you think about Bobby Witt and what he's doing, it's historic. And then, but in front of him, a lot of time it's Judge and Raleigh and those guys. And Ohtani, for sure.
Yeah.
Superstars. So look for the Royals, I guess. Tanner and I think the Royals are going to do, maybe next pod we can put a over under win-loss total for the Royals, or maybe you have a bold prediction for the Royals today. We'll see. At the end of the pod, we're going to do some bold predictions. This is one of Tanner and I's favorite things to do, is bold predictions, because we get to look back at the end of the season. We get to see either how good we were or how bad we were, right?
Yeah. Usually it's a little more of the bad, but that's okay.
For sure. Well, spring training is coming, and 8 days until we really get to be excited. We see all the videos on social media about our teams gathering together. Spring training is one of those deceptive things, though, isn't it, Tanner? It feels like the sample size it doesn't always tell the truth of the stats in spring training. I want to talk about that a little bit. Just pick your brain. Maybe give me one spring stat that matters and one that just doesn't matter at all.
Okay. I won't spend a whole lot of time on spring training, because if I'm being honest, I don't think any of it matters. Like, I don't see any spring training stat that I'm like, that's a big deal. I was curious, because I was like, it's what it is guys trying new things, figuring out new rules, and that's what it is. Aaron Judge last year, I looked at his spring training stats, hit 120. Okay. In 2022, Kyle Higashioka, if you know that name, he was a catcher for the Yankees. He hit 7 home runs in like 22 at-bats in spring training and hit like 450. In the regular season, he hit 10 home runs and hit 220. I don't think anybody can show me a stat that truly matters in spring training, but if you have one, please let me know. I would be more than happy to change my mind on this, but I don't think spring training stats matter at all. What do you think, Sam?
So spring training matters, but the stats don't matter, is what you're saying.
Correct.
So the time
get warmed up,
don't warm up, all that stuff. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Basically practice games. I mean, that's what they are. You're right. No, I generally agree with you. There's those anomalies, right? Where like Higashioka, he hit what, 4 something, he said?
Yeah, in spring training.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, so you can't read into too many of those. I would say especially offensive statistics. Mm-hmm. Here's what I would say, and we can make this quick, but how hard are guys hitting the ball, right? Because you can recognize that, like, Judge, one, they're probably not trotting him out a ton because they know he's warming up. They don't want him to get injured, all that stuff. But a lot of these guys are hitting against double and triple A pitching, right? It's the same at the plate. Like, sometimes you'll get a really good pitcher out there, and you'll get a guy from high A, and he's going to strike out, right? And that will inflate stats and deflate things. And so you're right. Like, the box score is silly in spring training. I'll just say, like, silly. How hard are guys hitting the ball? Are they hitting how hard? Exit velo. I think strikeout and walk rates are at least something to note. Not that you put a ton of weight into it, but like, I know that guys on the Mariners have like really struggled with Ks, strikeouts heading into the season, and that's carried into the season. And then I would say pitcher command. Like, it always feels like pitchers, spring training is for both pitchers and hitters, but like, it feels like pitchers are ramping up. Did you hear Max Muncy talk this week about, we're just getting going. We're just getting our bodies going for spring training because they had such a late season guys were just resting and resting and resting. So they hadn't even ramped up any sort of weight program. They hadn't taken swings off the tee. Like a lot of the hitters are just now picking up a bat for 2026. And if you're a pitcher, I don't know, maybe you have a different perspective on this, but it just takes longer to warm your arm up.
Yeah, I mean, I think most of these pitchers are probably throwing all year. It'd be crazy to me if they weren't throwing all year. And same with the batters. Like, they're not swinging the bats. They're probably not taking live bats every day, but I'm sure they're out there swinging every day and keeping the rhythm, timing, all those things. So, I mean, I think he probably went a little far, Max Muncy, but saying that he's just now picking up a bat, I don't believe that. But I think the last thing I could add, maybe we could figure out how to drop the clip in here, but when it comes to spring training, I don't remember if you remember this a couple of years ago, but it was Miguel Vargas was injured during spring training, but they still wanted him getting at bats, and so he would go up there and not swing. He'd stand in the box, and he was facing Zach Greinke on the mound, who, as if you know anything about Zach Greinke, he's a troll. So he absolutely was trolling Miguel Vargas. So we'll have to try to find that, figure out how to get it in. But it just shows spring training doesn't care.
Greinke playing chess, and we're all playing checkers every time Greinke was on the diamond. No, that's good. We'll see if we can pull that in there and put that in there. But yeah, it's crazy. Just stand in the box. That's the epitome of spring training, isn't it? Just get your looks, get your body up, get it warmed up for the regular season. I have this fun note, Tanner. I found two kind of older guys, and I want to transition sort of to some breakout candidates for you. I want to hear maybe about some guys that you're excited to watch and literally break out either in Rookie of the Year or maybe push for MVP. But two to shout out before we do breakouts. One, Craig Kimbrell. How is he still pitching? He's 37 years old, which actually in a baseball sense isn't that old, right? Like, how old is Aroldis Chapman?
Oh, I think he's older than that.
He's got to be. Yeah, he's older than that, and he's throwing 100 miles an hour still. In fact, I've been seeing these videos of Aroldis Chapman throwing in bullpen, and he just looks like he's put on about 20 pounds of muscle, which I don't understand that. But Craig Kimbrell he has a minor league invite to the Mets camp, which nobody is surprised by, right? The Mets are sort of doing an experiment just to see. But yeah, I don't know how many teams he's been on. Fun to see Craig Kimbrell. And then former Mariner Marco Gonzalez signed to the Padres. Marco is a good pitcher, left-handed starter, MLB experience. I just don't know how much for pitchers. Like, I don't know how much these guys have left in the tank. But I wanted to shout those guys out before we started. Because if Aroldis can do it, these guys can do it, right?
I mean, you'd think so. We'll see.
Yeah. So let's do some breakout candidates. Let us know in the comments wherever you're listening, whether it's Spotify or YouTube, wherever you're listening to us, who you think is going to have a great year, a breakout season in 2026. But Tanner, I want to start with you. What are a few guys that you see having a really good year?
Yeah, sure. I don't know if any of these guys for me are going to be quite that MVP level that you maybe mentioned, Sam, but I mentioned Roman Anthony already. I don't know if he's necessarily going to break out, but I think he's just going to be a great player. But for breakouts, I have Jackson Holliday, second baseman for the Orioles. Like, he had a great year last year that really went under the radar because their team was so bad. But he was top 10 in home runs, top 10 in hits, top 10 in stolen bases for second baseman, and was only 21 years old. Like, he could have a huge breakout year and move up the ranks to really be a top second baseman, middle infielder in baseball. Abner Uribe, that's my random poll relief pitcher for the Brewers. He's a young guy, super impressive K rate. So some of his stats: top 95% xERA, top 99% fastball velo, 81% whiff rate, top 100% K rate, top 80% in whiff and K rate, and top 100% in barrel percentages. So he misses barrels, throws the ball hard, and has a super high whiff rate. I think he could become an excellent reliever. And then finally, I got Dylan Cruz, He was top prospect for the Nationals, and he played most of the season last year. He was injured on and off, so he didn't play every day. But I think if he stays healthy, he's got every tool needed to be a superstar in the game: power, speed, contact, etc. So that's what I got for breakout candidates here in 2026.
That's good. And even as you talk about, Holiday is probably the one I know most from your list. The glove is there. The athleticism is there. The raw talent is there. It just feels like a lot of these guys, they're just trying to catch up to the major league level. He's one of those guys where once he does, he could be an animal, right? Literally a high dollar max deal contract kind of guy. And we've seen that happen time and time again. My first guy on my list is one of your guys, and that's Ben Rice. Breakout candidate Ben Rice. He's a guy that we talked about a lot last season, but he just showed such strong potential, I think, at the plate for sure. Elite contact. It just feels like he could fully break out with regular playing time. And so are they going to give him regular playing time in New York, you think?
Oh, yeah. And we had Paul Goldschmidt last year. And, they're platooning Ben Rice between first base, DH, and catching. I think he's going to be our everyday first baseman with Goldschmidt not coming back. There's nobody else to back up first base. Oh, yeah.
Right. Yeah, it just feels like they're doing anything they can to get him on the field, right? I don't know how old he is, but, man, it just feels like Ben Rice.
25, 26.
Yeah, get him on the field any way possible. Yep. Right, and that would be a benefit for New York over there. Second is Yuri Perez from Miami. The Marlins are, in my opinion, such a weird team to try and analyze. Their pitching staff, their hitting staff, their strategy, it's just like they're such a unique ball club. Yuri Perez he's elite raw talent. And I know that Alcantara had kind of a down year last year. You and I kind of traded him back and forth between our fantasy teams. That's a story for another day. But Yuri Perez, elite raw talent, high strikeout ceiling, throws the ball hard. A lot of analysts see him poised just to take that big leap this season. He's probably one we could talk about as far as fantasy value. Some of these younger guys will really need to assess their actual talent and value to a team versus like a fantasy value, because those are always different, right? Like a guy can be a good hitter, but he strikes out a lot, so he's not as valuable from a fantasy perspective. But Yuri Perez could totally be a very high ceiling player for Miami and kind of set himself up to be kind of lead the next generation of pitching. So I'm excited to see what he can do there in Miami. And then finally, I have a name. I told Tanner this. I wanted to throw a name in that maybe you all would know and already cheer for and have an opinion about. I don't know how much he'll push for an MVP spot, but he's definitely on my list, the guy that could, and that's Elly De La Cruz in Cincinnati, who just signed Gino Suarez, and all of a sudden there's some momentum building in Cincinnati. I'll talk about that a little bit in some of my hot takes, but Elly De La Cruz has everything that you would want in a young baseball player. Tanner and I talked about him just a little bit in the first pod, just as far as raw talent. His strikeout rate is high, and I think everybody knows that at this point, but he runs like the wind. I mean, his top speed has to be one of the fastest in the league. When he hits the ball, it feels like he just hits it so hard, and he's the kind of player that you want on your team. He's athletic. He plays the game hard. He runs hard. He'll change the game, flip the game on its head. And I don't know exactly how old he is, but it just feels like another step forward for Elly De La Cruz. Could be just even another step of being a superstar. What do you think about him?
Yeah, I mean, Ellie's such an incredible player, and it's so fun to watch. And being able to hit from both sides of the plate. If he just could bring his strikeout rate down, easy top 10 player in baseball. He just strikes out too much. He just needs to bring it down a bit, and he'll be incredible.
Yeah, which is crazy to think about, top 10 overall player in baseball. That's his perception. That's his ceiling, right? I remember before last season started, you and I had conversations about taking him so early in our fantasy draft because we're just excited about the player that he is. I wish he was playing in Seattle, man. That's like, I'm jealous of the Reds over there. There's some momentum building in Cincinnati, maybe.
I would trade just about anybody for Anthony Volpe. So, sorry.
Dangle him out there.
Yeah, we'll just throw it out there. You heard it first on Launch Angle Baseball. Anthony Volpe is going to get traded.
Plus prospects, plus cash. To be fair.
Yeah, we'll pay you to take him.
Anything to get Ellie De La Cruz on your team, though, and I feel like I'm going to eat some of these things, but I would like to make some bold predictions. And instead of just throwing them at you, Tanner, let's go back and forth. Is that fair?
Right.
Do you have bold predictions to make?
How many we want to do?
Let's you make one, I make one. I have 4 written down.
4. Okay. I actually don't have any written down, so we're going off the cuff. I'm going to say Dodgers win 105 plus games, do not win the World Series. Or make the World Series.
So they win all those games and they don't make the World Series.
Yes.
Oh, that is a bold take. Okay. Because you started there, I'll start farther down my list.
We gotta get hot. They're all going downhill from there.
I literally wrote this down. I'll read it word for word for you. The Dodgers don't win anywhere near the over-under projection.
Ooh.
Of 103.5 wins. I have the Dodgers finishing 94 and 68. So what is that? 11 wins less than you?
Yeah. That's a big difference. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Maybe we can't change these now. They're on video. So
they're on video. This is
out
there on the internet.
You're up, dude. You're up.
All right. Jacob deGrom has 200 plus Ks.
How many innings?
I didn't think about that. I don't know. Probably like 175, 170. That seems high. But I think he's going to have a really good year. He had a strong year last year, and I think he's going to build on it again.
Very strong year. First healthy year in a while.
Yeah.
I took him in the draft, and people sneered at me. He's such a good talent, man. That wouldn't surprise me. Still bold. All right, I got next. I'll say the Rockies win 55 games in 2026.
How many did they win last year?
In the 40s. I can tell you that. 42.
All right, that's improvement. Yikes. That's so bad. Okay. I'll say
it's bold though.
It is. I'm gonna say Nick Kurtz is a top 10 hitter.
Wow, top 10?
Top 10.
I think you went a little more bold than I did on
this. We went hot takes. These are hot takes.
Top 10 hitter. Wow. Okay. That's good. Nick Kurtz, top 10 hitter. You heard it here first. Clip it and put it on YouTube. So Tanner can't get out of that one.
Oh boy.
I got Cincinnati Reds will finish second in the NL Central in 2026, ahead of the Brewers. The Brewers are going to slide, is what I say.
Okay. The Reds over the Brewers. The Reds did have a hot streak last year. Almost
Cubs,
made
Reds, Brewers, which is wild because the Brewers won 97 games last year.
Yeah.
I'll probably regret that one.
We'll see. This is kind of off topic, kind of on topic. I'm going to just take this for a second. Those like top 10 lists that keep coming out of people like putting like
MLB right now.
Yeah, whoever those are. Those have got to just be to rage bait me and rage bait people. Because like I saw one for left fielders the other day, and it had Jarren Duran as number 1, and it had which I mean Jarren Duran's awesome. I don't know if he's even top 5 though, but it had my gosh, why am I blanking on his name? The guy on the Brewers that's really good and really young. I just had a total lapse. Oh my gosh.
I don't know the Brewers that well.
Hold on. I got to find it really fast now. Jackson Chourio. Sorry. Jackson Chourio. One of the probably top 3. They had him at like 9th. And I was like, That's ridiculous. Anyways, just because we were talking about the Brewers, I had to bring
those
that up.
top 10 lists just poke the bear. That's all they are.
That's all. That's all it is. Okay.
And if they're fan voted, right? Like fans vote on that stuff. I think they speak into those, and it just shows you how biased fans are.
I have no idea. I don't know where they come from. I think it's somebody at ESPN or MLB is just like, all right, what's going to bother the most people, and let's do that. Because everybody likes Jarren Duran. I'm a Yankee fan. I love Jarren Duran. So
good player.
But
good player.
All
right, I got one more. Do you have one more?
All right. Yeah, let's hear yours. See if I can think of one more.
Mine's about my own team, and I'm going to make the prediction right here, right now, episode 2. Seattle Mariners will make their first ever World Series, but they will lose to the Dodgers in a series 4-1. Okay? It's bold because the Mariners have never made it to the World Series, so it has to be. It has to be.
I don't know if this is bold, but Aaron Judge, I think, will win the MVP again. Make it a three-peat, and I think it'll be a bigger gap even than last year.
Right, because when you think about it, who can push him, right? Ohtani's the NL. Who can push him?
Bobby Witt.
I
would say Gunnar Henderson, if he has a good year, could push him.
Jose
and
Ramirez,
I think Cal,
if he was on a different team.
Cal could. Julio, I think, could if he starts the year better and doesn't only have a good second half like he seems to usually do.
He would have to run like crazy to push Judge, though, because he's not going to match him in home runs. Yeah. Julio needs a breakout season for the Mariners to have success, too. They're going to lean on him. Any other bold takes?
No, I think that's it. I mean, we've been chatting for a while. If people are still listening, I'll be impressed.
Yeah, and I don't want to put any more on tape because I'm probably like 1 for 4 on these takes. We'll look back at the end of the year like we always do and laugh at some of these. Talking about the Royals doing well or talking about the Reds finishing second. Look, the Rockies, if they don't win 55 games, that's fine. Still bold. Tanner says Judge going to win a 3rd MVP in a row. Maybe not that bold. Thanks for listening to Launch Angle Baseball Podcast. Tanner and I certainly appreciate you guys. Comment if you ever want to be on the podcast. We've already got a few guys text us. Some of our friends text us and say, hey, I want to be on the pod. I'm excited to have them interviewed. Otherwise, thanks, Tanner.
All right. Thanks, Sam. Talk to y'all soon.